Genuine. I'm Navya.
And I'm Prakriti. Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
So, what do you want to talk about today?
Um, okay, so recently I was just like talking to some of my friends yesterday. Even you were there in the like after you left the meeting. So we were just like planning like this trip after school, and we were all like, oh, after grade 12, we'll go on this trip to like Goa or like Shimla or something. Just like all of us friends, because right now we aren't having camps in school. So as like a trip sort of thing. And I said that I'm not sure if I'll be allowed to go because it's like not safe. And like everyone, there were a lot of guys there which basically like judged me. Like I know they're my friends and all, but I just felt like I don't think guys realize how big of a problem like safety and like in like the like women's security is such a problem, especially like in India where we live. And I just, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the culture here is so, different for guys and girls. Not that I'm not saying it's
Exactly.
for everyone, but I feel like for the majority it is. Some people might disagree with me, but then I feel most will agree. And the thing is, things are different, even though we decide not to, you know,
Yeah.
do that or agree to that.
Like, all these people who talk on Instagram and be like, oh, realize your privilege and all of that. I never like felt that so strongly as yesterday, because I was just like, guys, you have like a huge privilege and that they don't realize of. Despite us, like we're like, we're still like privileged and wealthy in the sense that we still have quite like a more safer society than like most women in India. But like the privilege gap between us and like guys who are like our friends is still a lot.
Exactly. Along with which, I feel like one big thing is we ourselves know, and like even the guys would agree that they wouldn't feel as unsafe or conscious if they're stepping outside alone. I feel like most of the guys or boys our age probably go around to the markets around their houses without anybody.
I am so jealous.
I mean, yes, obviously, but I mean, we know that we can't. I don't think, unless we
Exactly.
live in a society which is like
And it's not that
close.
we don't want to. We would love to. And the thing is, it's not that we're not allowed. It's also, even if we were allowed, we would ourselves just be scared because of whatever we hear and because of the fact that it's so prevalent, like all the crimes that happen.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes if we're talking about this at home or something, everyone's just like, you've never gone here, akele. And I'm like,
I know.
because one thing, I wasn't able to get that courage myself that, I'm just going alone in front,
In
like,
like night at 8 p.m. just going in a garden to
not
chill
even
out.
8, like 6, 7.
Exactly.
And I feel like even it really makes a lot of difference if you're living in a society or like in a closed system or
Honestly, it does, but I'll
not.
tell you, like as a person, like you live in like a bungalow, like a separate house, and I live in like a residential society. I feel like there's very little difference because even though I live in a society, I feel like my curfew is .6, and I myself am home like half an hour before that because I just don't want to be stepping out of my house if it's dark.
Yeah. And it's like we are so scared about it ourselves. I remember the other day, so one day by mistake, I was I kind of got out of the car alone a little earlier to when my mom was supposed to pick me up at, and it took her like 4 5 minutes, and it was around 9 p.m. at the moment. I was standing on the footpath, like on the corner
Oh
of the main
God.
road, and I remember that. And this is not even that far. I mean, it's like around, it's under this ear, and I was standing there for like 5 minutes and continuously on a call with my mom, and even she was like, don't cut the call because I was
It
scared, and I
seems
was just looking. I felt like everyone was staring at me. I started, I was so afraid, and I came back home. I was genuinely like terrified standing on that road with like a lot of cars coming. I felt like everyone was just looking at me because I'm standing alone there at 9 p.m. in the night until my mom just like came back to the
I
place I
know.
was. And I remember being on a call all the time. And it's not, I mean, I was just like holding my phone so tightly because I felt like someone would come snatch my phone away from me or do something to me. And
You know what? I agree with you so much. And I like pehle I used to think that, oh, I'm just overthinking who is such a scared person. But now I get it. Like every time I'm like in a market, even if my parents are like 5 feet away, right? If I see like strangers around me, and I just like keep imagining that, okay, if they do this to me right now, there's like this within my reach which I can grab and hit them with. Like it might seem stupid to like make up such scenarios and like backup plans just in case something happens, but like now that I think about it, I think it's completely justified.
Exactly. And I remember that day when I came back home, everyone was like, why were you so scared? You shouldn't be. When we were young, like all my aunts and everyone, they told me that when we were young, we used to go around in the colonies like alone all the time. We used to go get stuff like groceries or stuff for the house all the time. But I was like, the time has changed. First of all,
Yeah,
it's so different for us. Plus, I'm pretty sure if I go ahead and like ask you, can I go to the park at like 8 p.m.? Everyone would say no
exactly.
because everyone knows that it's unsafe, and one more thing, everyone's just staring at you. It's like, okay, you're alone. I can't even go get ice cream from like around to my house if I'm like alone.
I know.
And it's not like I need someone elder. I just need someone with me, even if it's like my sister, my younger sister. I just need someone with me to like go because I just can't go alone. And it's
That's yeah.
yeah, it's also because like it's a habit. Like I've never been asked to go alone. And
Yeah. I was just remembering this one thing. You remember when the first time you like, so me and Navya go to the same school, and the first time she used to have like her driver, and she used to go with like 3, 4 people. And I remember the first time you went back alone with him, you asked me to stay. Like I was constantly texting you, and like me and Navya was just like recently looking at our birthday cards, and everything from like 6, 7th grade seems so cringe, except for this. Like this just makes more and more sense to me, and it's just like I was just thinking about it, and it's like completely surprising to me how like even then we were so worried about all of these things.
exactly, and that too when we were so young. And I remember
I
right now
know.
also when I travel alone, like if it's the new driver, considering like if we have like my old driver, then I'm still okay because I travel with him all the time.
Yeah.
But if it's like a new driver, my parents are always like, I mean, not my parents actually, but I am always so scared. I'm just gonna call them myself and be like, I'm sending you my location, just like I'm sending you my live location, just be aware and like just
I know.
keep count it. And there's one more thing. So something happened like a few days ago. One of my friends, our friends, so basically she was supposed to go back to her house from my place, and there was my driver, but her mom like didn't feel comfortable with her kind of going alone with my driver, and that
Yeah, of course.
it wasn't the night time. It was like 4 p.m. or like 5 p.m. and they needed like some, and it was important for someone else to go with the driver, and I don't even like disagree because
Yeah,
the new person.
dude. When this used to, so I remember when I was like smaller, and like we used to have parties, and like I would be so annoyed that, oh, you aren't letting me go, so what, Navya ka hi to driver hai, like I'm pretty sure she trusts him, so like I can trust him and it's fine. And like I used to feel so offended whenever like my parents doubted like the character of like any of my friends, or like any of like my friends, drivers and stuff. And I just like, kya samajhte kya ho? Like everyone's not a bad person, but now that just makes so much sense to me.
That, yeah, I mean, that doubt for a second also, it does make sense because now we know the
Exactly.
reality. The more and more we hear from people around us, the more and more we kind of listen to stories and just stuff that happens around the world, read in the news, it just scares us even more, and that shouldn't be the case.
And here's the thing. I have had this exact conversation with at least like 8, 9 different people. Like even like people who I'm not that close with, but everyone resonates so close, like so strongly. For example, in my bus. So evening school. So there's this thing in our school where we have evening school that goes on from like 3 p.m. till 9 p.m. for like this function thing that happens. So transport, right? So I go by bus, है ना? So I remember what happened was me and one more person from my society were the only 2 people in the bus. And first we were like so happy. We're like, oh my god, it'll be night and we'll be the only two people in the bus. We can have so much fun and we can like sing and like play stuff and no one's gonna notice. And then we realized that like, okay, we're gonna be alone at like night and there's gonna be like two drivers and it's like a whole huge bus. And like I remember I had like just recently like read about Nirvaya and all, and I was super terrified. And like the whole time we were just so petrified. And I remember when I came home, right? So her stop is like literally 1 minute walking distance from my home, and it's literally like the bus just has to take like a little bit longer. And even in that, my parents had like told me to get off at her stop, and I went to her house. And like 5 minutes later, my parents came to get me from her house, because even though it's like a 30 seconds thing, I'm pretty sure even I would be like not happy with like just doing that alone.
Yeah. And I feel like if we are traveling alone, like I remember the other day, our car kind of broke down, and
Mm-hmm.
this is very recent. Like I think last week or last to last week only this happened, and then our car kind of broke down in the middle, and we were three people. We had a sixth grader with us, and then we were two people from like our our age, me and another person, and we took a cab for the first time ever. I took a cab without my parents, and I feel like I felt safe doing that because I had like two other people with me, and
Yeah.
still I was the first one to get down. And think about it, the other two people were like boys, and I was the first person to like get down in the car because it's I mean it was just safer, and plus also,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying it is like completely safe for the guys also. We're talking about security here. Like obviously it's very unsafe for women, but I also feel like it's very unsafe for guys. Like I know so many people. So I mean so many guys our age. I mean most have permission, but a lot don't. Like they don't have permission to take a cab themselves and like go out. And I feel like this also kind of leads to just normalizing
Honestly,
how unsafe the culture and
I
like society is.
I feel like that's more to do with age rather than like I like we're still young. Like we're not like 25 years old. That's why I feel like a lot of people aren't allowed. But I would kind of like I completely agree. That is not safe for anyone. But I remember, so there was this one time we had to stay back after school, okay? And one of our friends, his phone's battery was dead and his driver wasn't there because he couldn't contact him. So he just asked one of his other friends and asked him like, "Oh, can you please call like an Ola for me?" And I was like, okay, first of all, your phone is dead and you're going to take a cab alone, that to something that your friend like called for you, and you're going all the way to Delhi, which is like 1 hour from our school. How are you completely okay with that? And you know, he has a sister, and even she isn't allowed to like take cabs, even though she's like elder to him. And it just makes no sense to me, honestly.
Mhm. I don't know what to say about some stuff. Like so many things happen in like regular life. I remember the other day, so my uncle, he's 25 right now. He's allowed to step out of the house anytime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Obviously, like as I mean not very, very late, but yeah, after like one, two, he's allowed. And the other day I went to my grandfather and I asked him that Dadu, if one day, like if you know, when I grow up, not right now, obviously,
Yeah.
I don't want to, but then I was like, in the future, if I have to, you know, go outside with my friends or just like outside, will
Yeah.
you let me stay outside without knowing where I am? Like, and he was just like, मत पूछ मुझसे मैं क्या मतलब तेको पता है and I was just like नहीं पता मेरे को you need to tell me what's the reason behind this like he didn't know where my uncle was and it was still all right that it's okay it's 12 he's out he'll be fine but like I asked him if I were to go out it wouldn't be safe and like I'm not saying even for me like for my mom she's a mother of three and she's like she's 38 she should be comfortable stepping out of the house at the night time and I don't think like she is also
Exactly.
gone out of the house like later than like 12 1 without my father which is so shocking for me but then this
Exactly.
we realize the reality and it's not like she to some extent probably like she's also not she doesn't feel safe but then I also feel like in the society like she won't be allowed to go outside.
You know, also, I am very confused if this is like a sexism thing or if is just reality. Like, okay, honestly, for example, like I remember I once, it was like again one of those other parties, and my friends were like, oh, just tell your parents it's fine. What do you mean girls should not go out at night? And I was like, it's not a sexism thing. Like, they're not saying that girls should not go out at night. They're just saying that girls can't go out at night. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like all of these people who like don't let, like, for example, particularly like my family, if they don't let me out, I know it's not because they think that girls shouldn't go out. It's simply because they can't go out because of how risky it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Like, sometimes I get, like, sometimes I question that, there's like some guy who's like the same age as me. Like, why should, like, he be allowed to go out at night and I shouldn't? But then I realized that it's not a question of should, it's a question of like can, and like who, for whom it'll be like safer. I have another question on the same lines. So, like, I personally, I've had this debate with myself in my mind so many times before, like, I step out. If you're going somewhere, is it better to have a guy with you, or is it better to not have a guy with you? Like, which one do you think is safer?
To not have a
Like,
what?
a guy with you. For example, either you go out with, like, let's say, two of your guy friends, or you go out, like, so, so that they can be there for your safety, or the other way around, which is like, um,
You know,
like if they'll be there, it will be risky because you're going out with two
I
guys.
have two perspectives about this. I feel like for me personally, I'll probably feel safer if I have two of my friends who I trust. But for people around me, like my family or someone, it or like other people, it's gonna be for them. It's gonna be like it's like worse if I'm going out with two of my guy friends, and it's gonna be like a big deal. But then
Yeah,
if I'm going alone, like I feel like if I trust those two people, then I wouldn't. I mean, I'll feel safer in the society again.
yeah. Also, I would just like to make a clarification that I'm not saying that women need a man for their safety or that they can't be safe by themselves. Like, they're definitely like self-sufficient. But if I say that, like, in India where you live, it is important that you have a guy with you when you step out to ensure your safety, I don't think that's a sexist thing. And I would like, if there are any comments about that nature, I would love
Yeah,
to like
you can share our
clear
comments.
them out.
This is just our opinion, her opinion, my
Yeah.
opinion. We just yeah.
Also, another thing about the guys thing, like, I think this is when a lot of guys get annoyed whenever women talk about, like, when they say, not all men, because it's the whole idea that just because of like a few men who are just who are like bad, just like in air quotes, bad, like the reputation for all of them gets like harmed. And I genuinely, I feel for that. Like, I genuinely feel sad that that happens. But like as a woman, like you have to understand. Like personally, if I can't trust, if you're like one of my male friends, and if I can't go out with you alone because I say that I'm sorry, I just don't feel comfortable enough. I don't think it should be that something they should take offense at. I think they should um
Yeah.
like, do you think people will be offended if I like say I'm sorry, I don't feel comfortable going out with you, or do
I
you think they have a right to be
I don't
offended?
think they shouldn't. Like I feel like it depends. If you have that level of trust with your friends that you're okay, they shouldn't be offended. But like if they feel that this shouldn't be the case and like you should be comfortable with it, I don't think there's anything to like
Yeah.
you know. Um,
Honestly, in the future, um, let's have one of our guy friends like here and talk
yeah,
about
actually,
this
it's gonna
and
be nice to talk about
what's
like
their
what
thoughts on
we
this.
have, and like I feel like their thoughts will probably be like contrasting with ours, or some they might agree to some for some
I
ideas.
hope that's not the case. I hope it's not completely contrasting because that will literally just show the difference in privilege. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's not about like wealth privilege. This is about societal privilege. This
Yeah.
is about how it's just said. And I'm not saying that it's everywhere. I'm just saying it's in the majority, as I already mentioned before. And do you want to?
Yeah. Also, another thing, I feel like another reason, like personally, I'm very conscious, like very actively thinking about all of these things. So again, going back to evening school, I remember I had to like get like my shoe broke, and I had to go to like the other building to the art room to get like fairy stick or like what's
Heavy
it called?
quick,
Quick
heavy quick.
fix? Yeah,
Yeah.
very quick for like my shoe. And I just like took this guy, and like I was on the second floor. We were like it was like on the third floor. And I was just like, oh shit, am I like it's like 8 p.m. We're like in a building, no one's there. It's like dark outside. And I'm just with this guy, and like I trusted this person so much, but I feel like the reason that I was so conscious is also like victim blaming, in the sense that I want to do everything perfectly right from my part. Like I know that like we all like in the sphere that we live in, and like the people that we live with, they would not like victim blame. But I feel like as a society, like I know that it shouldn't matter what the society says, but on my mind, I feel like another one reason I'm so much conscious and just doing everything right from my part, like wearing full clothes if I'm going to a party. Like I know that won't stop anything, and I know it's not that we shouldn't wear revealing
Yeah.
clothes, because but like I would just not, because I'll be like, I just want to do everything right from my part, so that just in case something happens, I'm not a
Yeah, and I feel like it's also, I mean, more than just my perspective. I have so many real life like cases to
yeah.
like talk about. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, if I just look at my past months, so much has happened. I mean, not exactly like happened, but then so many things like within me have happened. Like I've thought about so
Yeah.
much stuff just like in public or just
Like
out.
small things like
Yeah.
stairs have just triggered like so many thoughts.
I remember the other day in like school only. This is like yesterday, I think. No, this is Friday. So this was like 2 days ago. I was walking in school, so I was alone. So I was in the other building, and everyone was in classes. It was in the middle of the lesson, and I was just in the corridor, and I was passing like outside of washroom, and four bhaiyas were sitting there from our school like staff, and they were just like talking about their own thing, and I mean, there was no one else in the corridor.
You bolted to your classroom.
Yeah, dude, I had my heads down. I don't know why, and I'm kind of embarrassed of that. Like, I shouldn't have done that. But then I don't know why I was so scared. Like, I just had my head down, and I just like got out from there in like a second, just kind of ran away from that part and like got to the stairs real quick because I was so scared that even though nothing was happening, they didn't even like do anything. They might have
Also,
looked at me for a second, but I was so scared about it.
can I just say you don't have to be embarrassed, because this is like I just had like a long thought
No,
about this,
no,
and I'll
no.
explain to you why. Complete your
No, no,
story.
no. I'll tell you. I was embarrassed about the fact that I was scared. Like, I'm not embarrassed for going from there. I'm embarrassed that I was scared of like being.
Honestly, I don't think it's embarrassing to be scared. I think like personally, I think it's like I used to, so for another thing, I was just telling one of my friends, like, so in my bus, I'm the last stop, okay? And there's only like one more guy who is like there at my stop. So literally, this is a true thing, and I have like not told anyone, but every time before our bus leaves, I have to take a quick scan of the bus. If that guy is there, then I can sleep
Hmm.
in the bus. Otherwise, I just cannot, because it's a stupid thing that oh, I'll miss my like. It's such a far fetched idea, but I just realized that it's not embarrassing that I'm that scared, because it's just the world that we live in. It's just what we have to,
Yeah.
you know. Also, like I just would like to just go back to like victim blaming, because I want to ask you some stuff. Like, do you feel like if like touch wood, nothing's ever gonna like nothing of like a huge sort will happen to us. Also, we should include a trigger warning at the beginning with this episode. We just put it there. So like yeah, like I'm not saying none of us like that we'll be raped or something, but like just in case, do you think victim blaming will be a thing that will happen with us, even though we live in like a very educated part of the society? Do you think it's something that will take place?
You know what? I don't think this, like, if you're educated, that's just gonna save you from victim blaming on any case. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, I personally feel like, and if there is a bias against this, there shouldn't be one
they
because
definitely shouldn't. But do you think it's not like honestly, like do you think that if something of the sort happens, the first thing that you will be asked is what were you wearing? Like, this is something that I am genuinely scared of. If like that I don't like usually like to wear shorts whenever I'm like going outside. Like I
Even
wear
I
shorts at
can't.
home
I'm
all the
so
time,
same.
right?
Even I'm like so uncomfortable going out, like wearing shorts.
Exactly. And
And
that's not a thing about like that we're conservative. That's not a thing that we like blame the girls who do wear shorts. It's just I'm always so scared that like if something happens, I just want to be like not at all like capable of victim blaming because I don't know, like it's just something that
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I can agree. And I feel like these small things, like they make so much difference. Like we don't really say it out like so much. I mean, I definitely didn't tell anyone about my subconscious thoughts if I'm like
yeah,
in on the streets. But then it's all like within like our brains and like our minds and how we just think. And I'm pretty sure like most of our friends or anyone for that instance, like we don't even feel very safe inside our school campus.
exactly. And
Not
I
even
feel like
at
we should be
home.
able to like, for example, there's one thing, right? Yeah, go on, sorry. Actually, you finish, I'll talk later.
No, I was just saying, like, even in our homes, like, I have like two male servants, and they're very
Hmm.
old. Like, they've been here even before I was born. But, like, now I feel safe, but because I know that, I still feel comparatively safe because I know that they've been here for like a very long time and they've like been here even before I was born. But I'm pretty sure for my sister, I'm not. Like,
Yeah.
even if my sister goes out with any of them, like, at the night to get ice cream around my house, I'm still like standing in the balcony to see if she's like okay. Like for me, it's fine. Like I'm, I feel like I'm still old enough,
Yeah.
you know, be aware of all of this.
And like do something if it comes to if
But
it gets to it.
yeah, she is like 7 years old, and I'm so scared for her. Like if she is going out alone, and I myself, I can't wear like this is not because anyone has told me not to, but then I myself can't wear shorts or like very short dresses or clothes in my house on a regular
Yeah.
basis because I just feel conscious, and I'm just gonna keep covering myself up with a blanket all day, which is just dumb. And
And you know what? Can I just say, the thing about don't wear this and like
yeah,
that's a real thing. Like, I genuinely don't believe that we've ever talked to guys about this, like any of our guy friends, and we have to because I'm pretty sure they've never been told what to wear. But like, like, and it's I'm not like blaming anyone, but like, I remember once I was just like accidentally like I go to works, but like after dinner with my parents, right? And it's like night, and even I'm going with my parents, like it's always a thing that if I'm usually like 90% of the time wearing shorts at home. So it's like a thing that before I have to go down, I have to change because I have to like wear like pajamas. So it's like once I didn't, and like my mom actually told me that like, like you're wearing shorts. And the thing is, I don't blame her. Like I think it's like a lot of people like criticize this mindset. But I think like obviously she's not saying that you shouldn't wear them. She's just like reminding me, and like I stand by that. um
also I feel like so I mean our parents and grandparents, even if they don't have an issue with us like wearing short clothes, it's also because they know how the society is, so they pointed out to us.
exactly.
And I mean if I'm wearing like very very short clothes, I mean obviously I am self-conscious about it, but I'm pretty sure like all of them are very like scared, and like my grandparents at least, because
And that's not them victim blaming. That's not them saying that तुम्हारे कारण ये होगा. That's
हाँ,
just them being like scared for us. Also another thing, when it comes to victim blaming, like I just remembered there was this thing that happened. So I wore shorts to school, okay, and this was not related to like safety. This was just me being conscious of like what will people say, and like this is what actually I thought in my mind, and like the moment I like questioned that to my like asked myself that, and I was like, you know what? How dare you, Prakriti? Like, how dare you say that to yourself? And you're like all about like body positivity and stuff. So I was like, you know what? No, today I'm just gonna wear shorts and go. It's fine, we're just in school. And like one of my very close friends actually asked me, was like, weird look on your face, like, oh, why are you wearing shorts today? And I know this wasn't about safety, but I feel like if this is the mindset that we still have about like even like wearing shorts at school, then I feel like this is also what like further exacerbates my whole fear about like victim blaming. That like even my friends, like I feel like they might just ask me what were you wearing?
Yeah. And this just blows my mind actually, but
Dude, like, okay, honestly, I will tell you later the whole story, like off podcast. But I was so surprised, and like, I didn't relate it to like victim blaming until like this second. But now that I think about it, this is literally the mindset that goes into it. Like, if you think that, oh, why are you wearing shorts? You're basically questioning my intentions of wearing shorts, which is literally what people say that, you wear shorts, oh, because you want to be raped. Like, that's literally what people say. It's like, oh, you just want to be raped. That's why you're wearing shorts. You're asking for it. Like, these types of questions is exactly what stems, like, what
exactly.
these attitudes stem from.
Agreed, agreed. And it's so, I mean, now that we're talking about clothes, I remember the other day I went to my nanny's place from school, and me and my mom just had to go out to like get some stuff from the market around the street, and it's like some stuff for the house. And my mom got me a dress. The moment she was like, we need to go out, I was like, I'm just gonna go in my uniform because I don't want to, like, you got me a dress and I don't want to go out in a dress. And then, like, I'm seeing in that point, like, even my, like, grandmother, my nanny, and my mom, they told me that, why are you so scared about it? Like, it's fine. Everyone wears it. It's completely all right. But then I didn't wear it because I was so self-conscious. And I'm just saying that even if it's not like a thing, and even if like the people around us don't mind it, we ourselves aren't comfortable with stuff and like just wearing.
And now that I think about it, I think we should like again going back, we should definitely have a guy because I just realized how we've like never talked about this with guy friends because feel so embarrassed and we feel like, oh, we're scared, which is like, this is not about girl power.
Yeah,
If you're going outside, that's not about girl power. That's just like if I'm scared, that's not because I'm like anti girl power or something. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like even if we stay home, we can still be strong women and still be scared.
yeah.
And I was just thinking, like, for example, with a small, like the bus thing, with the fact that I have to scan the bus every single day. I don't think I'm like, okay, I don't think I'm ever gonna tell a guy because I just feel like, oh yeah, it's like very embarrassing, but this is a thing that I do every day. And also, I remember I was going to the Lost and Found, right? So, you know how in our school, Lost and Found is like, bilkul kone mein, and like, it's like, there
Yeah,
are like a lot of almiras and shit. And,
yeah.
I was going and like halfway, I was just like, okay, I'm going alone. And like breakfast break has ended. Everyone is in their classes, no one's around. Do I really want to do this? And it might seem stupid, but I was like, should I just go back to class and like ask some guy to come with me? And then I was like, like what am I gonna say to them that I'm afraid to like go to Lost and Found? And it might seem like a silly thing to them, but it's genuinely not.
And sometimes I feel like it's not even about just having a guy, because I mean, I personally don't think that, if you have
Yeah, about anyone.
like, you just need someone to be with you.
Yeah.
Like, it just, because alone you're like scared, but then even if you have like anyone with
Yeah.
you, it's just that, yeah, we're like two, we'll handle whatever happens. If I'm
Exactly. I have a question for you.
yeah,
If you were, let's say, going to the Lost and Found, and and there were like three guys standing, right? If you had to give them a reasoning of why you want them to go along with you, except for, oh, I don't want to go alone, which is like something that we say all the time, like मन नहीं करता अकेले जाने का, मेरे साथ चलो कोई. Except for that, like, do you think you will be able to tell them that yes, I don't feel safe, which is why I need you to go along with me?
honestly, I don't think so. I'm just gonna give them the reason that you mentioned, that I don't want to go alone. So like, just come. It's
Exactly.
hard. I
And
don't want to go
I
alone.
feel like they need to like I think they need like for example, like recently there's this guy who has like a little sister and he was just asking me, he's like, oh, where do you want to go after like college? And I was just like, definitely like US, UK, not staying in India. And he was just like, oh, but why? And I'm like, cause in India I won't have a freaking life, okay? Bhai, मेरे को अपने घर से बाहर निकलना है and I want
I
to
know.
like do something, and it's like in other countries it's relatively safer. And he was just like, oh, like he started not attacking me, but it was kind of like, oh, you have this perception about India and you just think it's a shitty place. And I'm just like, that's not true. You guys literally have absolutely zero facts about how really dangerous it is here. And then I like sent him all these articles and got like completely like triggered. And I was just like, how dare you say that? Like, even I love this country, blah, blah, blah. And it just made me realize how much they're like unaware.
True, agreed. And you know what? I feel like we should take this forward another time and kind of get like a guy friend of ours, or maybe like two here to talk about this. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there probably like relate to us, and we're not.
Honestly, just like a word, if anyone wants to talk, like just hit us up, just send us an email.
Yeah, you have our email IDs in the description box or the
other Spotify description thing.
Yeah.
Also, I had this fun thing, which is basically like, how there's like no end to it. Like I was thinking, even if we talk to guys about it, even if we like get the courage, the thing is there's like no solution to it. Like there is absolutely like personally you can't do anything about it.
Exactly.
Like, did you hear recently? Like there was this police woman. Okay, that's like police woman with like all the necessary defense mechanisms. She got raped, and I was just like, okay, so now what? Like, have you heard Taylor Swift? Like, even Taylor Swift had like went through some assault, and like even she had to go through a whole trial. And I'm just like, okay, honestly, if Taylor Swift has to go through a whole trial and prove herself, and that that this happened to her, and it's like justice. Like even if something happens to me, for example, that's what it won't, but like if it does, like do you think you'll go to court? Like if, for example, like if it happens to me, do you think I should go to court? Do you think it's absolutely any help if I go to court? Like I would want to like do a whole protest and stuff. But like in the world where we live in, like such a broken justice system, like this is such a real problem.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. I really don't have anything to say.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, we shouldn't have a pehle se described plan. Exactly. That would be really helpful.
We shouldn't need. There shouldn't be a need for us to think about this. Honestly, like that's the main point, and like we shouldn't be like required to think about all of this. Shouldn't be required to think about what we're wearing, like reconsider our outfits before stepping out of the house. I've had a conversation about this so many times with like just people around me, my family, friends, just how, I'm not comfortable wearing clothes. And I feel like everyone's just like, this is just how the society is, but that's what we're supposed to change. I think slowly we all need to change our perspectives about things, and that is only what's going to make a difference in the society, and that is the only thing that's going to help like people around us change. Like if I kind of take a step forward, like maybe looking at me, or like if you take a step forward, like looking at us, like other friends of ours kind of take one, and maybe just us putting our perspective out there makes our family like realize that how like this is what we think about stuff. And like anytime we're having a conversation, my family would just, I mean, not like, I'm not kind of putting everyone in here, but some people, friends, family, they would just tell me that, this is how the society is, just, we don't have any problem with it. This is just how the society works, and it shouldn't work like this.
On those lines, I have personally heard a lot of guys like get and like tell me that they get annoyed by all of these girls who like keep putting Insta stories about like women getting raped and like justice. And I feel like that's so problematic. Like,
first of all,
honestly, the reason
if any of these guys are hearing this, you should look at yourself in the mirror and just kind of slap yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just the whole idea that on like change, for example, like there's not very much that we can do except for just like speak about it and like try to bring about a change. Like for example, like stories, right? Like I remember when there was this whole thing that why don't guys post And they were just like, oh, like I genuinely asked one of my guy friends, like, you're so active about like political things, and I'm not saying that you have to, but like, would you? And they were just like, no, like, would you share a story about like a rape survivor and like, to help them get justice and stuff? And they were just like, no, because everyone puts so many, and it's just annoying to see them on that page. And I realize that's so problematic because I don't think they realize how much of a problem this is. Like, even though everyone has like girls and women in their family,
Yeah.
it's, yeah, they're not completely, they don't get it. Like, they, honestly, so, when I sent all those articles to that one person explaining why India is such a like unsafe place, I was sending them more links, and they just sent back to me, got it. And I was just like, you know what? No, you haven't got it. You haven't got it, man. Like, you will never get it. And you just need to make an effort to like understand where we're coming from and why it's so important to us.
And honestly, just one more thing: if any guys like hearing this, you should go ask your sister or like your mothers about this and how they think about
Friends.
it. Like friends, obviously, but then if we were like just putting it, because I feel like not everyone's comfortable talking about this with friends, which is a very rubbish thing because you should be. I mean, even for us, like even we should be, but then we aren't. That's why I'm saying this. Like you should go ask your sister and your like mother and or like aunts about it if they have similar opinions like ours, and like share it with us or something. Like just try to
If they have.
understand the situation. And
I think it's like so important just to recognize it. Like, I remember when I was like, so when the cab incident happened, right? When one of our friends like took a cab, I got so annoyed because like that day I was just not having a great day, and I was just like, the world is so freaking unfair. This is not fair. Why does he get to take a cab and I can't take a cab? And like I have to wait here for 1 hour with my friend for my dad to come and pick me up. And he was just like, "Bhai, kya farak padta hai? Cab to le raha hu."
and dude, about the cab thing, so many times, like I only travel with my driver, and that too like the old driver that we've been traveling with like for years now. But like if I just ask my guy friends, they're like, it's okay, we'll just take a cab and come. Like no, I'm not saying like they're probably like very confident about it, or like okay,
Exactly.
but we still have an option.
Exactly.
We have an option to take a cab and come. We don't. I mean, we
definitely don't.
Exactly.
At least right now, at the state that we're in, 16 in India.
No, we don't.
Exactly.
And I mean, just to like kind of wrap it up a little, I'm just gonna say that we know there is a problem in the society. We just don't do anything about it. We don't do anything like consciously.
Even if you can't make such a big difference, at least like
talk
about it. At least like try to educate yourself. Like, yeah, like I want every single guy to like. I don't want them in the first. If anyone in the first 10 seconds goes like, oh, this is about two girls cribbing about injustice in the world, and they just skip it. That's the kind of attitude that I want to change. Like, they should not be fed up by this topic because it's so important. Like, it's something that we have to think about every single time we step out. Every single time I'm in the lift and alone, I don't want to have my phone right there with like a number so that I can click on it just in case something happens.
Yeah. I think on that note, I think we can wrap it up. And the only thing we want to say is like, I think everyone should, after this,
just listen, just talk.
Exactly. Talk about it, reflect on this. Yes. So thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
See you next time.